Good evening, all our friends, our esteemed members of Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society, our members at large from All India Ophthalmic Society, from variety of other organizations who are close to our legend of today, Dr. Qures Masti sir, including the Cornea Society, the friends and family of Dr. Masti sir, and all our colleagues. On behalf of Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society, as the chairperson of the scientific committee, it is my proud privilege to welcome you all to this special series, which is called as the legendary MasterClass. We all know that Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society is, in fact, India's largest state society for ophthalmologists. We have over 3,000 members, and it is our proud privilege to have so many legends amongst us who have shaped not only Maharashtra, but also Indian ophthalmology at large. And this is today's fourth episode, and we are extremely proud and happy to present to you today the legend, our own, uh, the so much loved, so much respected advisor to everybody, and somebody who has possibly the best sense of humor, a truly multifaceted legend, world-renowned ophthalmologist, educator, organizer, and a very, very jovial person at heart, our own Dr. Qures Masti sir. So we welcome sir on behalf of MOS. Thank you for accepting our invite to be a part of this Legend series. We all know that legends are not born, they are created through echoes of their actions. And today's series is going to demonstrate the pearls that Dr. Masti sir has learned along the way in his life. And he would like all of us to imbibe those virtues, those values, especially for all the young ophthalmologists also. So we are looking forward to today's episode. Before we go further, I would like to now invite our own extremely dynamic president, Honorable Dr. Santosh Agarwal sir, who has led from the front and has had so many new initiatives during his tenure, is humility personified, somebody that we always look up to, a great guide and support to all of us in the team. So over to you, Dr. Santosh Agarwal sir, for your welcome address. Thank you.
Thank you, Vardhaman, for your kind words. So, good evening to one and all respected seniors, my colleagues and friends. I welcome you on behalf of Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society to a very unique, distinctive this webinar, which is named as Legendary Masterclass. The very purpose of this legendary masterclass is we young generation want to learn from the legends of our own Maharashtra because they have so much experience that they can share their pulse of wisdom from their life, also from their academic experience, and we all new generation people can learn from them. Dr. Qures Masti, he doesn't need any introduction. He is a very dynamic, very young at heart, and he is always at rescue for any problem when it arises during our administrative work. He always there, and we look at him as a Maihuna like person, always try to help us, and he very academic, and we heard his lectures in the different conferences, and today we are very eager to know many life pearls from him so that we can imbibe those virtues or values and also academic pearls in our own life and day-to-day practice. So over to Vardhaman for further proceedings. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So well said. Before we go further, today also is a very special occasion because we are going to release the first issue of the Blink by this team of MOS. And to inaugurate this, we have our chief guest today, who is our legend himself, Dr. Masti sir. And to say a few words about this Blink issue, we would like to also invite Dr. Ajay Lohiya, who is the chief editor of this wonderfully designed issue of Blink. So before we go further, I would like to request Dr. Masti sir to kindly inaugurate this issue and declare it to be inaugurated. I'll just flash the front page of this, please. Just give me a moment.
Wonderful. So in the blink of an eye, this blink issue stands hereby inaugurated.
Thank you, sir. And if we could have Dr. Ajay Lohia, please to say a few
Yeah.
words about this issue. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Maskati sir, for inaugurating this issue of Blink. This is the first issue of this year. I personally thank the organizing committee of MOS led by President Dr. Santosh Agrawal and Secretary Atul Kadane for giving me this opportunity as editor of the Blink. For the first time, sir, we have conducted contest amongst the MOS members for best anterior and posterior segment photography, as well as for the best non-academic photography. We received very good response from the MOS members, and I thank all the members for the same. Also, we have started for the first time we have started one bulletin on recent advances in subspecialties, and this time we have included cornea subspecialty in this issue. And in the next subsequent issues, we will be including another subspecialties. I thank my co-editors, Dr. Darshana Gadgil, Dr. Gitanjali Sharma, and Dr. Kavita Dangra for helping me out, for their hard work, for helping me out, for bringing this issue. One more thing is that we have got sponsorship. That is also for the first time. So there is no burden on MOS budget. I request all the members to go through it and give us feedback and suggestions, if any, on my email, which is provided in this issue, so that we can make it better in the next time. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lohia. I think all of us are going to receive this issue by email and also on WhatsApp on all our official MOS
Yes.
channels
Yeah.
and groups. All right?
Vardhaman, I just thank Dr. Ajay Lohia that he has accepted to be editor of this Blink. And also I thank for this beautiful issue. And also I thank Gitanjali, Darshana and Kavita for assisting him. This is the first time we have come out with a editorial team, and they have done it very nicely. So everybody, I request to go through it and have a glance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. All right. So after this important momentous occasion, just one second. Right. So friends, now here is the time that we actually start our legendary series. And of course, needless to say, Dr. QBM sir, as he is fondly called, he doesn't need any introduction, not in Maharashtra, not in India, and even globally. He is, of course, a world-renowned ophthalmologist, but has so many facets that we are going to learn about today. Dr. Qures B. Maskati sir, of course, is a very illustrious son of a illustrious father of Dr. B.T. Maskati sir, who himself was a great legend. But we can definitely say that with the journey that Dr. QBM sir has had, he has had and carved his own path, and he has created his own, let's say, his own contribution, which has made him into his own individual legend. And it is very rare to see a second generation who is actually superseding the first legendary generation. And sir is a great example and role model for everybody. Sir did his graduation and post-graduation from the very prestigious KM Hospital in Bombay University, obtaining both MS, DOMS, and FCPS, all in 1983 with a gold medal in DOMS. You can see this is an emblem of GSMC, which says non-CB omnibus. That means not for self, but for all. And that is what also we see in Dr. QBM sir has been his let's say, breathe vakya in his own life as well. You can see him be spectacle here, looking very smart in his probably hostel room during undergraduation. Before he came to KM, he was in St. Mary's School. And as you can see, another legend, Mr. Bowman Irani, he is his classmate of our legend, Dr. Qures Maskati sir. Dr. QBM sir super specializes in disease of cornea and artery segment microsurgery. He did his super specialization from US in Boston and Rochester. He has over 24 scientific publications to his name in peer-reviewed journals. He's a co-author on chapter of ophthalmology in many textbooks. And most importantly, we all know him to be a very sought-after quiz master. He has devised and conducted ophthalmic quiz at national meetings, and that has been done for over 25 years in multiple cities and state meetings all over India. He was the president of both MOS and BOA in 1994 and 2001. And it is peculiar that he has been the youngest person in the history of the societies to hold this post. Sir has been the president of our parent organization, which is the All India Ophthalmic Society, which now comprises of close to 29,000 members. And this is, of course, the largest national ophthalmic society of life members in the world. Sir has been conferred the prestigious honorary FAICO award, which was bestowed by AIOS for the very first time in the history when they started this FAICO award in itself. He has been also the president of Cornea Society of India. He has been the president of the ISMSICS organization for 2 years. He has been the chairperson of the Pediatric Ophthalmology and Strabismus Association of SAO. He has been the chairman of the Family Benefit Scheme right now in AIOS from 2019 till 2025. He's going to continue with his tenure. Sir is a superb speaker. Of course, we all know how loved are his talks. He has been a visiting faculty at several international and national meetings. He's also the only ophthalmologist in Asia to have extensive experience of a very peculiar keratoprosthesis called as the Pintucci. He has done over 75 cases of this so far. And he's also the only ophthalmologist to have performed 2 different kinds of keratoprosthesis, which is Dolman, which is the Boston keratoprosthesis, and the Pintucci as well. Sir is a reviewer and the board member of IGO, is a reviewer of several other international journals as well. He has been participating and has conducted numerous camps, both in cataract and squint, all over India in variety of states. He has been into refractive surgery from its early days in 1998. He is a trustee of Rangunwala Foundation, through which he does a lot of health advocacy and health charity work. He's an active Rotarian. I think this is a very peculiar thing. He is a very avid, a very strong Rotarian at heart. He has been a president back almost 30 years back in 1995. And so far, he has held several posts in his Rotary. And most importantly, he is a generous donor to Rotary Foundation. He is a multiple Paul Harris Fellow and has been contributing to Rotary at variety of events. Sir has done a lot of organizational work. He has especially helped our MOS to rise in its national stature. Dr. Maskati has attended every single MOS conference since 1983, which is over 40 years now. He has been also part of the teaching faculty of every meeting as well. He has been a member of managing committee several times. He has also been a member of legal committee, election commission, chief election commissioner, president's special advisor, including this year. He has helped revise rules and regulation, constitution, and registration for our organization many times. And we all cannot forget his contribution that was there for DreamCon, which was the AIOC that we all organized on behalf of MOS in Mumbai. And this was a super successful conference and actually gathered more than 2 crores as the amount from AIOC. And he has donated vast majority of this fund to MOS, and through which a lot of MOS educational activities go on. So we are very thankful to Sir on behalf of MOS. Sir has been a faculty of course, AIOS also since 1983. He has conducted variety of instruction courses, presented free papers, given a lot of invited lectures. He has been a faculty of several international meetings, and he has been honored with several very prestigious name decoration and awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award of MOS that was given last year. And it is a proud privilege for me. It was as a chairperson of scientific committee to be part of the MOS team, which had the honor of giving the Lifetime Achievement Award to Sir, along with, as you can see, our presidents, Dr. Agarwal Sir, and then President Dr. Bide Sir. Sir has also been given Lifetime Achievement Award from the Qures. He has been given gold medal from the Egyptian Ophthalmics Association, a gold medal on behalf of also the IRSI. He has been avid speaker, has run around the world, has given so many fantastic talks, but at heart, he's such a loved person by one and all. Right from the youngest members to the senior most, everybody loves him dearly. You can see in one of these meetings, Dr. Purosha, like cheekily, basically playing with Sir cheeks. You can also see Sir looks very handsome when he actually had the first, let's say, show as the showstopper during the Cornea Society of India conference that happened in Mumbai. And again, it was my proud privilege that I was the compare for this, and I was one of the organizers for this night. And you can see, sir, in one of the BOA meets, of course, dancing very happily with ma'am as well. So someone who has been a great person at heart, and of course is somebody who is a role model for people like me, who is second generation ophthalmologist, who has actually done the justice to the legend, to his father, to Dr. B.T. Muscati, sir. We all know Dr. B.T. Muscati, sir, has done yeoman service to Indian ophthalmology and, of course, All India Ophthalmic Society and to MOS. And these are some nice photographs from sir, which sir has shared. Thank you, sir, for sharing this pearls. This is during the 90th birthday of Dr. B.T. Muscati, sir. And personally, I would like to narrate one very close to heart occasion when I had called Dr. Muscati, sir. This was a conference in Goa in 2015. And I told him that we really feel from LOC that Dr. B.T. Muscati, sir, should come as our guest to Goa. And sir was not keeping well, but I'm very thankful to Dr. Qures Muscati, sir, who gave all the support to Dr. B.T. Muscati, sir. He came all the way to Goa. And during that banquet, we opened a champagne at his hands. This is one of the most memorable photographs that we have, and especially for me. Sir has been a great family man. Of course, sir is supported here by ma'am, by Sajida ma'am. She is joining us in this webinar. Sir has two lovely daughters, and sir has now 4 grandchildren, 2 grandsons, and 2 granddaughters. As you can see, he's loved by one and all. Sir spends time with the family. I think he's a great example to have a great work and life balance. You can see his photographs around the world, having a good time with his family. This was a photograph in Greece, as you can see in the right corner, where is sir is joining the Aegean Sea. Sir roams around the world with family. This is his recent photograph with his grandson in Pune, where sir lives just possibly a stone throw distance away from my own home in Pune. And he's seen having a very good time with him and also with ma'am. And these are some of the other photographs which shows what a man, what a tremendous human being that we have in Dr. Qures B. Muscati, sir, a man of different talents, different virtues, and such a multifaceted leader that we have, who is our role model. So thank you again, sir, for giving us this opportunity for this Legend series. And we are really looking forward to learn a lot of pearls from you in your presentation in itself. Thank you.
Vardhaman.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, MOS, for giving me this opportunity to take part in the Legions of Ophthalmology series. I have divided my talk into 2 parts, actually. One is my Aap-Biti, that means talking about my own life. This picture is, as you can see, at a marriage with my parents. My mom was invalid that time. My sister, Lubaina, is also present, and my wife, 2 daughters are present. So as Vardhaman said, family is very much a part of my life. I'll just take you back a little bit. I had a middle class upbringing. My parents saw to it that though I was born with a silver spoon in the mouth, they didn't tell me this secret that I had a silver spoon. I learned of it much later. So I traveled to school like everyone else did by school bus. Often when you miss the school bus, or in later years, I came back home by BST bus. Those in Mumbai know that BST is the route. Now, we had 2 choices. We could change 2 buses and come home, or I could walk a couple of kilometers and take a single journey bus home. If I did that, I saved 5 paise. And there was a ice cream fellow sitting at the mouth of a building where you could buy an ice cream cone for 5 paise. So usually I would walk down to that ice cream cone fellow, so using that 5 paise which I saved, and then take a single bus home. Mom was quite strict, had to submit weekly written accounts of the monies that she gave me. It was never enough. You couldn't have a Coke every day in school. It was a once a week sort of treat that you could have something like this. But I grew up with the same middle class upbringing and learned how to be careful with money and to learn the value of money right from an early age. My kids, of course, would go one step further and use a colloquial word which starts with K, has a J in it, and ends with an S. But we'll leave that out for the time being. I was in St. Mary's School. It was a boys only school. So I was very studious. I was very much an introvert. Joined Xavier's College pre-medical for 1 year for interscience. And I saw this specimen of human creation called girls for the first time in Xavier. So I went completely berserk. It took me hardly any day or 2 days to go from introvert to extrovert. So whenever somebody tells you, as if there are students listening in and you're an introvert and people tell you that, oh, well, that's your nature, that's absolute rubbish. You can change from introvert to extrovert. You just need a little bit of stimulation. So I had a lot of stimulation because Xavier's had a lot of girls. I fell deeply in love with a female who wore mascara, lipstick, and nail polish matching her dresses. It was amazing for me, who had come from a boys' school, to see somebody with green lipstick, green nail polish, and green mascara when she wore a green dress and so on. Unfortunately, she was more fashion conscious than anything else, so she failed her exams. And she had come from Africa. She was an Indian origin girl from Africa. Went back home there, and I never saw her again. So I'm not really sure what happened, but I did move on. I moved on to KM. In KM, I was active in curricular and extracurricular activities, including student welfare, which was much to the chagrin of many people because I was a class rep and then a student rep, what we call general secretary. Was part of we had an excellent elocution and debate team. So by virtue of stalwarts like Rajesh Parikh, Rupin Shah, Eman Tucker from my class, we made sure that we won right from first MBBS to final MBBS every year. And we represented KM in Mood Indigo and many other intercollegiate debates. My love for quizzes started in undergraduate days because right in first MBBS, I was in charge of the college bulletin board. So I would read the newspapers and the magazines at that time and have a small quiz on current affairs, which I would post on the bulletin board with answers afterwards. And the prize was usually one Cadbury chocolate. No financial interest in Cadbury's. I had, unfortunately, a weakness for accepting dares. So the dare was always a fixed amount of ₹10 in medical college, because the 10 rupees would buy one meal at the Amrit Punjab hotel, which was close to KM. I won almost every dare. One of them I remember now, Mohan Chandavarkar is here. He would bear me out. We had, during college week, we had a singer called Rani Verma. And somebody offered me 10 rupees if I went on stage while she was singing and asked her for her autograph. So I waited till one of those ward boys came from the gynac department saying there's an urgent call for a woman in labor. So I took that chit block from him and I interrupted her song to go up there and say, Madam, sorry, but there's a very urgent announcement. Somebody is in labor. Will the concerned registrar please go there? And after having made the announcement, I opened my autograph book and said, ma'am, will you give me an autograph? All on the mic. She fired me and said, how dare you ask me for something in the middle of my song? So I said, I'm sorry, and I left. And then we had to have a mediation to see whether I'd won the bet, because the two people said, you asked for the autograph, you didn't get it. I said the bet was to ask for the autograph, not to get it. That is her choice. So I did get that 10 rupees. The only bet I lost was when somebody bet 10 rupees to shave my head bald, and somebody else told my father about this. Dad was at that time head of department in ophthalmology. He doubled the offer if I kept my hair in place. So I still have my hair, and I lost that one. However, being Dr. Maskati's son had his highs and lows. I had a corneal foreign body as a student, undergraduate student. I went to the KM Opthal OPD at about 8 in the morning with a corneal foreign body, and the houseman looked at it and said, "You've got a foreign body, cornea." Then he forwarded me to the registrar, who used a better torch and said, "You definitely have a central corneal foreign body. I think you should see the lecturer." So the lecturer then saw me and said, "You know what, Qures, you have got a corneal foreign body." By now, I think everyone in the department knew I had a corneal foreign body. So I said, "Remove it." No. So he says, "No, no, no, no. We can't remove it. Your boss's son will wait for boss." So boss normally comes at 11:30 because he's honorary. So I sat in that OPD with a foreign body sensation because of a corneal foreign body. I saw 30 other corneal foreign bodies being removed while I waited. Then the boss came at 11:30 and they presented me as case number 1 to boss. He took one look and he says, "He's got a corneal foreign body. BT Shah was the lecturer. Just remove it, please." So only then was the foreign body removed. So it's not always the highs for being the boss's son. I was fairly troubled as a lecturer. I actually wanted to be a full-time teacher. I had no interest in private practice. I thought I would love to teach, and I thought I would teach. So after my registrar's post, I became a lecturer in Nair for a year. I would have stayed indefinitely. However, the professor in charge had been failed in her MS by Dr. Maskati when she was a student, and she didn't tell me this. So she took it out on me, and I had virtually no surgical work. My surgeries were picked up and taught to students as how not to do a surgery. And even then, 13 months I endured and then finally left to start private practice. I practiced in the same premises as Dr. Maskati. Senior shared the same waiting room and secretary who had already been with him for 20 years. So she fired him, or only secretaries who've been with him for so long can fire him. How could you introduce this lamb into the lion's den? How will we get patients? But she told me, "Don't worry, I'll get you patients." So when patients called up for appointments, Dad's appointments were for 3 months full. So she would ask them what they are ringing up for. And if they said they wanted a Chashmeka number, she would say, "Why don't you see Dr. Qures Maskati? He will take at least 30 minutes to examine you, while Dr. Senior Maskati will take only 5 minutes. His fees are half that of Dr. Maskati." So that worked. We could divert patients to me. She didn't take any commission on this, but it was helpful to start practice. But jokes apart, as Vardhaman correctly said, everything that I am today in ophthalmology is because of this one gentleman who taught me everything in life, right from how to manage life's affairs, financial affairs, ethical affairs, values, and ophthalmology as well. He literally held my hand for my surgeries, and the result is what you see before me is just a shadow of this gentleman that you see on the screen. Thank you, and I'll stop share, and then Vardhaman, if there's time, I'll share some another talk.
Yes, yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir. Yes, yes.
I'll have to close this now.
So you will have to close the previous one, just open the new one and then share.
Yeah, I'll do that. One second.
So till the time you fix this, can we have some
go ahead.
Dr. Chandavarkar sir, who has joined us from your undergraduate days? Yes. So we would like to now welcome Dr. Chandavarkar sir, who is a great friend of Dr. Masti sir, and he is going to share with us some of his interesting times that he had as a student. So he would like to talk about Dr. Masti sir as a student back in KM. So do we have Dr. Chandavarkar sir here?
Yeah, he's here.
Yes. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, I can see.
Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, sir. Yes.
Well, thanks to Qures and MOS for inviting me here. Familiarity breeds contempt. And after knowing this guy for 50 years, I used to wear colored glasses while seeing him. But after seeing his biodata, I think the refraction error has been removed. And I see him with a different vision. And unfortunately, he said most of the things that I was supposed to tell you, that he was a general secretary, and that he was quite reckless when he measured his bets and things like that. But one of the things I remember was when he was asked to go and in shorts for a gynae clinic, for $10. And then he did it. And they were wondering what happened. And then he says, I don't know what excuse he gave. Probably that he had only one trouser which had gone wet and that had gone for ironing or something like that. But friends, what I remember about Qures over the last 50 years, and maybe something in college, was that both of us were very popular. He was popular. And is Lubaina there?
Lubaina is there. Yeah.
So hi, Lubaina. So what would happen was my sister.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. My sister was in Wilson College, and his sister was in KEM doing in the physiotherapy and occupational therapy department. So when it came to a party, both of us had to be invited because she brought her friends and I brought my sister's friends along. So we could have a party. There was great fun in those days. I remember I got into trouble with this guy because I landed up doing an election campaign for him during his GS as the general secretary, and I happened to tell somebody as the person came in, they said you need to vote for this guy, and that was counted as campaigning at the time of the election, and it almost became a big issue. Till of course the question is your word against mine. I never said it. So there was no WhatsApp, there was no video, there was no cameras there. So it was a good fun to get through. But it makes, you can't say I don't believe that people are born leaders. They can be molded just like he was. And I suppose in the end, it's those values that you pick up in your undergraduate times. They hold you in good stead in the future. And that's what he's a perfect example of that. Last year, I happened to be the president of the Thane Gynaec Society, and I invited him to give a talk on vision from a gynaec point of view. And this guy had the people just jumping off the chairs and falling off the chairs because he took it to a different plane. And I remember my colleague telling me, this is the first time in a gynaec conference that you have an ophthalmic guy who's coming and telling us where to find the G point. So it was good fun. So having said that, we've had a good time together. Then, of course, again, he mentioned something about being in Rotary. It so happens that both of us were presidents of the North Club. He was president at the Bombay North. I was president in Thane North in 95-96. And if Qures remembers, every good idea normally emanates from the washroom. So both of us had gone for the installation and we had gone to the washroom. He was there, I was there, and another friend of mine, my colleague from my batch, Yatin Shah, was from Bombay Northwest. So as you say, as we were evacuating, there were brilliant ideas that came to the mind, and we concocted how we could do joint projects at the same time. And we came back and announced those projects that we three guys from KEM, from the same batch, all from North clubs, I'd go to do a great job of service above self and doing good in the world. So that was fun. It's great fun. As regards his penchant for falling in love every now and then, I think now it's stopped for the last few years, because I think most of the time it was what they call it, unrequited or
Unrequited love.
yes. One way they were like, this guy fall in love, and the other person was trying to figure out what he was trying to say. Very good fun. Nice guy to know. Good human being, good friend. And we've been doing things like recently he was organizing, I was helping him out. And we did 50th Golden Jubilee for the GS Medical, our batch, or GS 74. Good time we had, 4 days of fun. Absolute new benchmark that was set up. It's been good. Nice. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
One thing is, of course, is sure, there are certain things I cannot share on this forum. For that, you require 2 things. You need an exclusive company, maybe over a single malt, and everybody could have fun. And that's the time I can tell you the rest of the unofficial part of his biodata. I can let out some secrets at that time.
Thanks,
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. And as sir, you have correctly said, the values that like everybody imbibes during undergraduate time, especially, they go along, and these are the values.
Can I just got in here one thing which was there? We should be in the hostel together. And I believe that the hostel is a great leveler. For us, when we went to the clinic, PT Muscati was God in ophthalmology. When this guy was in college, bola hawa you to pure hai. So it's a great leveler.
True, sir. Yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. And I think it was wonderful to know the pearls from our students' life. And now we would like to also know from Muscati sir about as an ophthalmologist and all the values that he cherished. But before that, if sir wants to say something about Dr. Chandavarkar or for this talk, yeah.
No, thanks, Mohan. Thanks. Mohan is in Jabalpur at the moment, I think. So we'll excuse him, and I think we can go on to the others and then have my talk, Vardhaman.
Sir, we'll go phase by. I mean, I have my talk. I have your talk in front of me. Do you want me to share it?
No, I'm fine. I can share it. I just thought that we'll do the non-boring stuff first. No.
Sir, we'll go in phases.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So shall I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay. So values I cherish. This is a little sentimental talk, so you will forgive that's why I was trying to put it at the end, but still, I want to share some values which I believe in, and these are 7 values, as you can see. You can also see that I love to project my own pictures. Vardhaman has projected enough, but this is one more. So let's go straight into these. First is this talk is primarily meant for the youngsters who are listening here. I believe you should have a long-term vision, but set realistic short-term goals, achieve them, then set a new goal. If you are doing your postgraduate term, have a short-term goal of mastering refraction or mastering indirect ophthalmoscopy. Don't have when am I going to acquire my first Mercedes? That's not realistic. So have realistic short-term goals. You can have a long-term vision, but keep it very behind at the back of your mind. And you must be positive. Tiger Woods in his prime days before wine and women spoiled him, he had said that I never think about failure. I only imagine the ball going into the hole on the golf course and don't think about how arduous the path is. So fear is an illusion. You imagine obstacles instead of opportunities, deep valleys instead of the opposite cliff edge. If you see Hindi movies, you find that the hero on a white horse, always on a white horse, and he's being chased by 10 bad guys. His white horse will jump over the cliff and go to the other side, while all the others will stop because they are afraid of falling into that valley below. So there is the story of the king's falcon. The king had a very rich king, had a favorite hunting falcon, and whatever he did, that falcon would not leave the king's hand and would not fly. So he announced a competition that anyone who could make my falcon fly will get a big prize. A lot of people came, enticed him with food, with pushing him and whatever, but it didn't work. Till one poor farmer came with a sickle and simply cut the branch on which the falcon was sitting. So the falcon was then forced to fly. So you must welcome change. There is the change is going on at a faster pace than when we were students 40, 50 years ago. Change was slow. We were very happy with intracapsular cataract surgery, and the change came very slow. But now with change coming at extremely rapid speed, you cannot sit still. You cannot sit on that branch and hope that you will do well. You need to set goals. You need to be consistent in your approach. You need not be the best person or the smartest or most charming or most popular, all of which Mohan and I were. Just be consistent in your behavior and approach. Unlike the carpenter who was asked to make one last house, there was a carpenter who was very good and the boss was very happy with him. The carpenter then had got fed up of doing carpentry for 40 years and he went to the boss and said, I want to retire and go back to my village. And the boss said, no, you please make one last house for me. Carpenter was very upset that after so many years I'm going and approaching him for retirement. He still wants me to make one house. So he went ahead and made a very lousy house, used few nails and things like that because he was in a hurry to finish. And at the end, he went and told the boss that I have made the house. Now can I retire? And the boss gave him the keys to that house and says, as your retirement, I wanted to give you a gift. But I said, I wanted to give you a house. But I said, no one makes houses as perfectly as you do. So I thought you could make your own house. And this is the gift that I'm giving you. So just by not being consistent once, you spoil your entire reputation. If you're in a busy OPD, in a place like KEM and have 100 patients, you should be equally perfect in your approach to the first patient as to the 100th patient. It's not the fault of the 100th patient that he is 100. So you cannot just shine a torch and tell him to go. When for the first patient you've done shining a torch, fundoscopy, refraction, and slit lamp examination. So everybody has to be treated the same, whether you're in KEM or you're in private practice. Strive towards perfection. You may not reach it, like the sculptor of an idol who kept rejecting each piece. So somebody came up to him and says, 30 pieces of an idol, it's such a small idol you're making. You're rejecting it. For whom are you making this idol? He says, no, this idol is going to be right on top of the temple. So the fellow looked up at the temple, which was very high. He says, nobody is going to see it. He says, but I'm going to see it. I'm making it for myself. So whether you're doing a small incision cataract or you're doing a phaco, you strive towards perfection. You may not get it, but if your second surgery is better than your first, if you take videos of your own surgeries and see where your performance is lacking and improve on it, you can be your own teacher. You can, of course, go to others for help. So you need to work hard and be consistent. Stand for your convictions. Again, this is for those who are writing papers in journals. There is the story of a chief executive officer was retiring and he wanted to appoint a successor. So he asked each top executive, he gave them seeds for a bamboo plant and told them, go and grow this bamboo plant. And the one who gets the best bamboo plant in 3 months, I will choose him. All of them took the seeds home. 10 of them took the seeds home and 9 of them came back in 3 months with beautiful looking bamboo plants, each one taller than the other, greener than the other. Only one fellow came back with an empty pot and all the other 9 laughed at him. And this fellow said, sorry, I tried my best. He told the boss, I tried my best. I gave it fertilizer, but it didn't work. So I'm sorry, I couldn't grow up bamboo. And obviously the CEO appointed him as the next executive because this fellow had not lied. He says, I had fried those bamboo seeds before giving them to you. So none of them could have grown bamboos. So when you're writing a journal article, don't fudge your data. If there is a negative result, if you find that something is inferior to something else, say so. That saying inferior will help the community, the ophthalmic community, they will not follow that path. Or a particular drug which a pharma is trying to push, and you do a clinical trial and that drug is hopeless and it doesn't work, say so, write about it in the journal. Don't fudge just to please that pharma company, because you will please that company, but then the drug will not work and people will see through this very, very fast. The fourth is give without expecting a reward. This is enshrined in the Gita. My Sanskrit is very poor, but the karma theory, all of us are aware of this. Do what you think is right without bothering about the reward. There is a story of Paderewski, the famous pianist. In the days of the Depression in America, Herbert Hoover was an impoverished college student who wanted to invite the famous Paderewski to his college to perform, to raise funds for the college. In those days, Paderewski said, I will take $100. So they called him over and they had a function in their college auditorium. But even in those days, nobody pays to see a pianist. They pay for Javed Ali in AIOC, Kolkata, but not for somebody playing the piano. So the program was a flop and they managed to collect only about $30 instead of the 100. So they handed over $30 to Paderewski, who said, no, keep it. I don't need that money. Your efforts were genuine. Years later, Paderewski became the president of Poland when Poland was facing a famine. And he appealed to America for help. And America sent shiploads of wheat to Poland. And after that, after the famine was over in Poland, Paderewski went to meet the American president and thanked him profusely and said, I don't know how I can repay you. He says, sir, you already did by foregoing the $100 that we did not have to give you at that time. That was Herbert Hoover, who went on to be the president of the United States. So you never know, when you do good in the world, you never know when you'll get it back, and in spades, as you call, means 100 times, 1,000 times, you'll get it back. Just keep doing good. Don't expect a reward every time. The other thing that I want to share with you is our own value, our own self-esteem. There are medical colleges in which the bosses are notorious for trampling on you, crumpling you, like a 100-rupee note which can be crushed and crumpled. They will say that you're good for nothing. You can't even do a decent cataract. You're lousy. You'll never make it as an ophthalmologist. So people take this. But remember that each of us is unique. We are all diamonds within, waiting to be polished. Perhaps that professor doesn't have it in us to polish, in him to polish you. Maybe you will go out and go to a fellowship and get polished. But whatever it is, value yourself. If you take a 100-rupee note and crush it, crumple it, have a road roller going over it, and still pick it up and then take it to a department store, you'll still get 100 rupees worth of carrots or potatoes. So that innate value of the note cannot be destroyed by somebody crushing it. Similarly, your ego, your esteem can never be crushed by somebody bad-mouthing you in college. It happened to all of us. It will happen through your career. I guarantee there'll be people who will be bad-mouthing you. But keep your self-esteem. We are all diamonds waiting to be polished. Henry Ford learned a lesson as a milk delivery person when he was a student. They all had to do these chores to earn pocket money. And he was asked, what did he learn as a milk delivery person? He says, well, I would be in the back of a milk delivery van, and there were those huge vats, and they would then empty the milk at everybody's doorstep. People had kept small bottles with narrow mouths, bottles with big mouths, large vessels, small vessels. He says, no matter what the shape and size of the vessel, I learned one thing, that the cream always rose to the top. So the cream in us will always rise to the top. You will get what you deserve, and you will, provided you're consistent, provided you practice and work hard. So don't let anyone ever tell you anything else. Ask for advice, be receptive to criticism, work as a team. Don't believe that you can do everything alone. This holds true when you start practice and you have a team in your hospital with your anesthetists, your ward boys, your theater nurses. be equal with them. You're not one above, you're equal, because all of them are responsible for giving you the success in the surgery. If your nurse doesn't autoclave the instruments well, if your ward boy has not cleaned the theater as it should be, the buck will stop with you. The endophthalmitis is something that will come to you. Value your team and work with them. And lastly, I think is be ethical. It is more profitable in the long run. It is sometimes profitable to be non-ethical in the short run, but people will realize this. You can't fool all the people all the time. And mostly, you need to be a role model. All of us need to be role models, at least for our own children and grandchildren. For example, when we went to an amusement park in Disney, my father paid a full ticket for me, as I was just above the age limit for a half ticket. My uncle asked him why, because nobody was bothered over there. He could have paid for a half ticket. He says, no, but Qures will know that I cheated. I don't want him to ever think that we could do something like this. So that is stuck in the brain. When I was caught for talking on the cell phone at a traffic signal in Mumbai, I was hauled into court at that time, because on the same day Salman Khan had run over some 10 people. So the traffic department had suddenly decided to be very strict. So instead of just paying a fine, I had to go to court. My license was confiscated for 7 days. For 7 days at that time, I did not drive. And my kids that time asked me, we would go often at night for drives. Why are you not driving? I said, I will not drive for 7 days. I've been told not to drive for 7 days. So you can try and be a role model. Whether my children have learned enough from this to actually imbibe this, or they will happily bribe people, that's for us to ask the kids later. But at least we can be role models. There are very few role models left in the world. We had role models of growing up, but now if you look around at so-called role models, the rich and the famous having lavish weddings, the politicians doing everything unethical, irrespective of parties, the film stars being caught with all sorts of escapades and drugs and whatever. There are very few role models left. But let each of us be a role model, at least for our children and those near and dear ones. And I believe then the ripples will help in the long run. So to summarize, I tried to discuss the importance of certain values in our professional and personal lives. I assure you I have not told you anything I don't follow myself, and you're free to apply any or none of these messages in your own lives. Thank you so much. Keep smiling.
Great. Thank you so much, sir. So I think it was amazing. Absolutely. I think for all of us, and including especially the young ophthalmologists who are starting off, these are the right message that has to reach to them. And this is the right way that they have to emulate role models like you. And great shares of all these values and virtues with all of us. So thank you, sir, for putting all this together. And we have truly learned a lot from this presentation. And now we would like to also listen to one of your role models, one of our role models, the legend himself, who has been the teacher of teachers, who has been, of course, your teacher. And he has been also, like many of our teachers, none other than Dr. Rumi Jahangir, sir. So as an ophthalmologist, sir would like to actually say a few words about Dr. Masti, sir. So 1 second. Yeah. So I will start this now. Yeah.
Hello, friends. I have known Dr. Qures Badar Masti since over 5 decades when he joined the St. G.S. Medical College and KEM Hospital as an undergraduate and postgraduate student. Hailing from a family of renowned ophthalmologists, including his father, the legendary Dr. Badar T. Masti, and uncle, Dr. Noman Masti of Surat. Qures achieved numerous accolades, including being president of various ophthalmic associations like BOA, MOS, AIOS, etc., and being an office bearer and recipient of many prestigious awards. He is an excellent and committed organizer, widely traveled and sought after speaker on his areas of interest. His special interests include humor, corneal diseases, dry eyes, optics, small incision cataract surgery, low visual aids, and keratoprosthesis. He has done the largest series of keratoprosthesis, Pintucci and Dolmen, for chemical burns and Steven-Johnson syndrome. He is an active member of the Eye Bank Association, promoting the cause of corneal donations. Qures has evolved from using the 1 Graphis cataract knife to using the excimer laser for refractive surgery. He's also conducted the largest number of the very popular ophthalmic quizzes in various conferences. Like his revered father, he excels in conducting eye camps for cataracts and squints in rural areas. He's extremely eloquent. Qures has a super sense of humor. He regales the audience with jokes, stories, and anecdotes, despite being a teetotaler. Though he is a penchant for getting into trouble by taking vocal stands on contentious issues, much to the annoyance of his family, he also manages to get out of trouble and give good advice at the end of it all. Amongst his multiple talents, I can list acting on stage and walking the ramp. He is therefore referred to as brave, bold, and beautiful. I wish him health, happiness, harmony, and success in all his endeavors, and God bless him and his family. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Jahangir sir. Yes, Dr. Maskati sir, what would you like to say?
No, I am overwhelmed with Dr. Jahangir. But Dr. Jahangir is, it's funny. Dr. Jahangir, first of all, never ages. So he at some point next year or this year, he may touch 80. But with us, we share a cup of tea almost every day, every alternate day still. And he operates at my nursing home. So it's as if we are friends rather than teacher-student relationship. He has this unique knack of making everyone very comfortable, and we never realize his age till he reminds us from time to time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for also joining us now. And of course, you have so correctly said you have been one of Dr. Maskati sir's first teacher. And so nicely, I think so nice words coming from the teacher must be, of course, overwhelming for Maskati sir. So we would like to ask Dr. Maskati sir, was ophthalmology always your first love, or like how did you actually zero down on ophthalmology? Of course, we all know that this is not an easy question, but was there any other interest, or was it your passion?
Ophthalmology was not my first love. You see, I had chronic sinusitis growing up as a student, school student. So almost every 15 days, I was at the ENT doctor's office. And this ENT doctor, being my father's colleague, would be very patient with me. He had lovely models of the ear, nose, and throat. And he would explain it to me in great depth as a student growing up. So by the time I joined medical college, I was convinced, because I thought I was half an ENT surgeon. I knew the anatomy of ENT much more than ophthalmology. So I thought I would take up ENT. After my internship, there was a student who was going abroad for his ECFMG and VQE as a house post. So he told me, can you do my locum? So my first 13 days were not in ophthal, but in ENT, and I loved it till fate intervened, and Dad says, exactly what are you doing in that department? I said, no, I was just filling in as a locum. I hope you've applied for ophthalmology. I said, yes, I have. So, yes, it was not serious, but I still enjoy ENTs. I did 6 months of, 9 months actually of pure plastic surgery. So I have assisted in vaginoplasties and in work around the entire body. I have been a houseman in a burns unit where 60-70% burns patients were there. So it gave me a broader outlook on life. So I still enjoy oculoplastic surgery. When I did my Pintucci's and I had to take the buccal mucosa from the mouth, that was not a big deal at all. So I think whatever you learn, you keep on, nothing ever goes to waste. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. And so basically, I will say that ENT's loss was ophthalmology's gain. So if we would have pursued ENT, we would have lost a diamond, a role model for all of us. And like while spending time with Dr. Rumi Jahangir sir also, we have learned so much that you have learned virtues from Dr. B.T. Maskati sir. But what are the virtues that you have learned from Dr. Jahangir sir?
From lots of things from Dr. Jahangir. One is never speak ill of anybody, no matter how lousy that person is. So typically, he will allow you to say 2-3 sentences. You're upset about somebody, and then you say, hey, he did this. So 2-3 sentences he will hear. Then he will say, "Bas, Java de. Chal, let's talk. Let's change the topic." So he cannot. Not only can he not speak ill of somebody, he cannot even bear to hear ill spoken of somebody. So that is a trait which we have to strive towards. We can't really reach that, but it's again he continues to be a role model, living role model for all of us.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Jahangir sir. Your like concluding remarks about this aspect. Sir, I think you're muted. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Wonderfully well.
Yes, sir.
I have been sandwiched between my respected teacher, Dr. Maskati, and I have been attached to Qures, and I loved and enjoyed interacting with the entire family. Now our children and our grandchildren have also become friends. So it's been a great journey, and I really enjoyed being a part of their family and them being a part of our family. God bless you all. Keep on doing your good work, and rewards will come your way. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It is so lovely to see you here. So, Dr. Maskati sir, apart from being, of course, a wonderful world-renowned ophthalmologist, your love for ocular surface. So, I would like to know, like, how did you actually like go into this ocular surface world of ocular surface keratoprosthesis? Because I think I believe in the Western India that time there was probably no person who was really keenly interested in that. Majority of the work was done in the southern part of India. So, can you share?
No. Keratoprosthesis was not done anywhere in India in 97, except Dr. Daljit Singh. No one else was doing keratoprosthesis. In 1997, Nati brought in a World Trauma Conference to Mumbai. And one of the speakers there, Nati will remember, was Dr. S. Pintucci to speak on 25 years experience with the Pintucci keratoprosthesis in chemical burns. And I went and met this gentleman because at that time I had a patient who was really bad chemical burns. The whole cornea had sloughed off, the 4 millimeters of scleral rim had sloughed off. The sclera was open like a teacup with the lens having gone, and I could see the optic disc without any ophthalmoscope with naked eye. So I went and met this Dr. Pintucci. I thought he would be an elderly gentleman, but he turned out to be 5 years junior to me. He was in President Hotel at that time. So I went and met him and I told him, I want you to see this patient. So he saw it and he says, nothing will help this patient. It will go into phthisis. And of course, it did go into phthisis. But he said, I said, at least try your Pintucci keratoprosthesis. A poor gentleman. So in the charitable ward of Saifi Hospital, he was kind enough to try it. And of course, the patient did go into phthisis 15 days later. But I learned the art over there and I learned the potential of the Pintucci keratoprosthesis from him. And he was a great teacher. So when I went and operated in various parts of the world, like in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka, in Malaysia, Philippines, when I did the Pintuccis, he would often come from Rome to assist and to help out. And I remember once when we were in Sri Lanka operating, the windows suddenly rattled with a huge sound. And I looked up at the nurse. I was operating, Pintucci was assisting. And I said, what was this? Was it some earthquake? She says, no, sir, you carry on, sir. Only bomb blast, sir. There was a bomb blast in Colombo Eye Hospital just at the gate. And at that time, 6 people died at the gate of Colombo Eye Hospital. We were operating on the first floor. Abhay Vasavada and 6 Koreans escaped with their lives because they were standing at the gate And then they went in to see a patient. Again, one Korean said, I want to see this patient on slit lamp. They were to operate in the afternoon. And that's how they saved their life. So we've had many such interesting experiences. But that's how I got into, because of Stefano Pintucci, I got into keratoprosthesis. But the reason I got into cornea was different. I actually went to thinking that I would be a retinal surgeon. I went to UK. Dad had given me letters of introduction. So I went and observed at Moorfields. And Peter Lever was the legend at that time. Peter Lever was doing, so he did a vitrectomy, 3-4 hours. He operated. I saw nothing because it's difficult to look through that indirect ophthalmoscope. I still can't see through it well. And at the end of the day, next day, patient didn't see anything. So I called up Dad from London saying that 3 days I've been watching, no patient has improved. So he says, doesn't matter, go to Cambridge. One Mr. John Scott is there. He had just started putting some chemical called silicone oil into eyes. So that was the beginning of silicone oil. So I went and spent 3-4 days in Cambridge. And this fellow did about 10 to 15 silicone oils in a day. But then end of it, next day when I saw the patient, there was still no visual improvement. So I said, I don't think retina is for me. And that's how I then went over to Rochester, where Dr. Gulapalli Rao was a professor, assistant professor with James Acquavella. And I stayed with Dr. Gulapalli Rao and saw cornea. When he did a corneal transplant, next day patient had 636. So I said, this is the place I need to be. Then I did some more time with him than with Ken Kenyon in Boston. That's how I became a corneal surgeon. And these were the two big influences in my life because they could produce results which at that time the retinal surgeons were not producing. Thanks.
Great, sir. Absolutely. And as you speak about Dr. Natarajan, sir, we are very happy to have Dr. Nati, sir, with us, who himself has been, of course, a legend. And we had our Legend series with sir as well. Sir would like to actually speak a few words about you and about Dr.
Sure, and I'm happy that in '97 we did the International Society for Ocular Trauma conference, and we got the president and 100 trauma surgeons to India, Mumbai, and everybody paid $400, including this Pintucci. He's a great friend. I don't know whether Qures remembers. He wanted to do retina fellowship under me. Unfortunately, he died at a young age. I offered him, and I have stayed with him. He has a house next to the Coliseum in Rome, and a big house. I don't know what happened to all the property. Anyhow, so main thing I wanted to be here and tell is thank Dr. B.T. Muscati and the kindness of Qures, because when I came to Mumbai, before coming, I went to meet Dr. B.T. Muscati and Qures, and 20 of my family members came with me to quiz Dr. Qures, Dr. B.T. Muscati, whether I will survive in Bombay. And Dr. B.T. Muscati and both Qures helped me a lot. And I remember standing outside the car and talking about Nitul Bhatt, who was my fellow. And later he had gone to, I think, US that time. And then Qures wanted to get him here. But in the meantime, Bombay Hospital from SP Jain went to Mr. Bharat Tapari as the chairman by the time I came. But important thing is I'm in Bombay, surviving and also doing well only because of blessings of Dr. B.T. Muscati and Qures Muscati. And Qures is a friend even before that, before he used to come to Dr. Jay Agarwal, that time was alive, Dr. Amar's father. And we were all meeting that time also before I came to Bombay. And 88 October, August I met him. Then October I came and joined. And then after that, no looking back, because Dr. B.T. Muscati, Dr. Rumi Jahangir, Dr. Usekar, they were all there. And as usual, the management tried to play what you call divide and rule. So fortunately, Dr. Jahangir, Dr. Usekar were very, very kind, because they were supported me, because they were the legends of retina that time. And they encouraged me and even sent patients to me. That's how I survived. And thanks to both Dr. Jahangir and Qures and BTM, of course.
Thank you, Nadi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us also. So basically, sir, now you have done so much work in very difficult specialty of ocular surface, but you have been also a ace person when it comes to the organizational capabilities. I think, as we heard also from Dr. Jahangir, sir, I think your capability of organizing big meetings, being at the helm of the societies, including MOS, BOA, AIOS, doing really landmark work, has been seen by one and all, right from the senior most to the youngest ophthalmologist, and you have transformed many of these organizations. So to talk about your organizational, let's say, experience, we have one of our other legion, Dr. B.K. Naik, sir, who has been, of course, one of the pillars for MOS and also AIOS. And sir has also been one of the pillars for the DreamCon, along with Dr. Maskati, sir. So now we look forward to hear from Dr. B.K. Naik, sir. Just 1 second. Let me just share the screen. Yeah.
Dear friends, good evening. It is my pleasure to talk about my personal and professional relationship with Dr. Qures Maskati since the last 30 years. On a personal front, we all know him as friendly, witty, jovial, down to earth, and a person who has got a way with words. Here, I will add that he also has the very rare quality of punctuality. We have worked together in BOA, MOS, AIOS, and the recent DreamCon 2022. I have noticed innumerable quantities in him that makes him a strong player. He is known to take quick decisions and to stay firm on any stand which he feels is correct. He has got his rare knack for diffusing tense moments and situations with his amazing sense of humor and inherent goodness. Instead of pondering on a problem, I have observed that Dr. Qures puts his energy into finding an impartial solution to it. He is so confident about his commitment of meeting the deadline that I remember when he took over as President AIOS, he promised that if he was unable to respond to any query sent to him within 24 hours, he would make sure that he would have a pizza delivered to the person sending the query. And no marks for guessing that he never had to pay for a pizza delivery. I recall the beginning of my
I can't hear him. Huh?
Yeah, we are not able to hear him.
Vardhaman, I think
the last part. Okay.
Last minute or so, yeah.
Sure. 1 second.
clearly showed his foresight in tackling an important issue. I happily acknowledge that he is really a worthy son of a worthy father, and thus it comes as no surprise that he is a legend in his own right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naik, sir. Yes.
I think the part which probably you missed out, that was because the voice was not there, I don't know why. That beginning of my tenure as a press secretary of All India Ophthalmic Society, luckily I was having him as a president. And because of that, I had not put it in words earlier, but now I am going to put it, that in the hostile environment, it was difficult for me to survive. But for the presence of Dr. Qures, I could sail it very easily and smoothly. So that was really, it's a great quality. And also the systematic way in which he planned a nationwide survey for diabetic retinopathy. And that was his idea, and that really did well in that year. But later on, I don't think it was really continued by the other presidents afterwards. And rest everything. So whatever I wanted to say, most of the things were already told by
some other people. I didn't know what to talk. I was given 2 to 3 minutes, so I thought, let me utilize whatever I could say.
Thank you, sir. But I think you have, sir, narrated a very important aspect of the organizational capabilities of Maskati, sir. I think that is a remarkable quality we all would like to learn. And so, Dr. Maskati, sir, like your words about Dr. Naik, sir's.
Yeah, so it's always been a pleasure working with Barun. When the person you're working with is equally honest and sincere. We had a great team, Barun, myself, and Yogesha as secretary, treasurer, and myself as president. So we could bring in changes in AIOS because our thinking was only service and service to the citizens, to the members of AIOS, and there was no other thought process. So we would meet very regularly. Barun's office in Hinduja was the midpoint because Yogesha would come from North Mumbai, I would come from South Mumbai. So we would meet in his office, and it was very regularly we met and planned things forward. And we brought in many changes. For example, we brought Tally software in so that all the wings of AIS could, because everyone was making their own accounts with their own accountant, and the journal would be separate, the scientific would be separate. So we put everything under the AIS umbrella. I remember the trade was extremely hostile because they planned a strike. When I was president, there was a trade strike. They had a parallel trade exhibition outside at Agra in an auditorium, in a ground, open ground. And I met with them a couple of times, and then I said, look, this is final. If you don't want to join, you'll be ostracized by us for the next 3 years. And that stand remained firm. We didn't change it at all. There were all sorts of inducements being given to us in Barun's office itself to change our stand. But we said, no, AIOS is AIOS. We will be transparent. You want stalls? We're giving you stalls. We are putting up a map. You choose your stall. We'll put a green button saying that that stall is yours. And it succeeded. Their strike, as it were, was a damn squib. No one went there. We appealed to our members. Please don't visit the parallel trade. And no one went. And so, again, as I said in my talk, it's teamwork. No president, no organizer can achieve unless he has a team with him to back him up. And I was very fortunate to have Barun and Yogesh with me. Just as for the DreamCon, we worked together, Barun, myself, and Dr. Lahane, along with Parikshit and Bhavan Kule. So it was a team effort. No one person can organize anything. People who are like-minded. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We have all seen the success. Can other people please mute their mics? Yes, we have all seen of course, all the hard work and the success that was behind the DreamCon. Especially, we have also seen the efforts that Dr. B.K. Naik sir has put in for years, even before the DreamCon came to Mumbai. So we are very thankful to Dr. Naik sir for joining us today and for sharing his experience with us about Dr. Maskati sir. So now this is a question, Dr. Maskati sir, like we all know that for any organization, if you have to contribute, of course, the only way to contribute is to be part of the organization. And somehow MOS, although being the largest state society of India, lacks our voice to that level when it comes to our national society. And I think learning and getting inspirations from role models like you, Dr. B.K. Naik sir, Dr. Nati sir, and others, I think MOS should get more involved with AIOS in the future.
I was very happy, Vardhaman, to see you, Piyush, Parikshit, all contesting elections, and you and Piyush winning those elections, and seeing that Maharashtra is making a difference now. But there's a lot of talent in our MOS, which I can see, even in our current managing committee, current office bearers, previous office bearers. There's a lot of talent. I think that we should take part, but for that, we must have knowledge. You must know your rules. When I was an AIS president, I knew the constitution by heart. I could point out a page number on which a particular thing is. So you must do your homework. You must, if you're in MOS, you must know your constitution, bylaws. You must know what is possible so that you can then change things to make things which you want possible. So whether it is BOA, MOS, AIOS, you cannot just say, I want to be a leader. You do your homework, work hard, go rise from the bottom and come up and stand for elections. There is the leadership development program by AIOS, which again, Nati was one of the pioneers for bringing it into AIOS. It's an excellent program. We have a leadership development in MOS also now. I urge more youngsters to get into this. It helps you even in your practice if you don't want to be a MOS leader or AIOS leader. But Maharashtra is the largest society, must have a bigger say at AIOS. We are the least corrupt society. Please understand, when you compare it with societies from other geographical regions, especially north of us, you will find that we are the least corrupt society. We have such talent and such honest people that we should make a greater mark than we are doing in AIOS. Thanks.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much. And sir, now regarding your ophthalmic like experience of such a vast time, can you narrate a single patient's like story which really moved you in all these years, like somebody that has been in your head for the longest time, something that can inspire all of us?
I think it would be one of my keratoprosthesis patients. She was a young girl of 9 years of age with keratoglobus in both eyes, as part of two sisters, both with keratoglobus. And one eye had no perception of light because the globe had ruptured long before she saw me. And in the other eye, we did a graft, and then the graft didn't do too well. And then we did Boston K-Pro, and then she is now married, and she's now in Canada with her husband, and she's got 2 children, and still maintaining 6.9 vision. 2010, I think I operated her when she was about 8 or 10 years old. I think and I've attended her wedding. I've been part of their family after some time. It's just because a keratoprosthesis patient disturbs you at any hour of day or night, because so many things. I must have operated at least 8 or 9 different times on her for the graft melt or for the various other things. But with all that, we kept her going to 6.9 in that one eye. So there are many such heartwarming stories. As cornea surgeons, we get poor people like Dr. Natarajan and Dr. Jahangir. Retina surgeons don't get such heartwarming stories. I'm only kidding. Yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank you, sir. Very, very nice to listen to this. And of course, as part of your let's say, interest in transforming organization, the other organization that you have been a part of, and you have really tried your best, you have given a lot of your heart and sweat to it, is the Rotary. So as we know that you are such a ardent Rotarian at heart, and one of your friends would like to say something about you, sir. So let me just share it again. Yes.
Friends, on this happy occasion, I speak on behalf of the International Rotary Movement. Let me begin. A worthy son of an illustrious ophthalmologist and an eminent Rotarian father is our distinguished legend of today, Rotarian past president, Dr. Qures Masti. Qures is a Rotarian for 38 years and has left the stamp of his personality and style in the universal world of Rotary. Joining the prestigious Rotary Club of Bombay North in 1986, Qures, in a short span, became the only and the famous father-son duo president of this club. Father, the revered Dr. Badar Masti in 1972, and son, Qures, in 1995. Qures went on to become the assistant governor of our district in the year 2011-2012. He is a multiple Paul Harris Fellow, donates handsomely to the Rotary International Foundation, and has delivered over 100 talks to various Rotary clubs in India and abroad on serious medical subjects and on laughter, humor, and much more. Though a chip of the old block, Qures is, in his own right, by his own well-earned merit, is deservedly being titled a legend, and that too in his lifetime. Congratulations, dear Qures. You do make us and Rotary proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay. That was Vijay Lazarus, president of my Rotary Club. He was president during our Silver Jubilee year of the club. And he's been a doyen of the music industry. So it was nice to hear from Vijay. But seriously, Vardhaman, before you ask me a question, let me come out. I think that everyone should have something to do outside of their profession. Otherwise, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So join Lions, join JCs, Giants, Rotary. Of course, the best is Rotary, but I am biased. But you must be part of a movement which has got nothing to do with ophthalmology. Or pick up with your childhood friends, your school friends, go out with them on picnics, holidays. I mean, there is so much to enjoy outside of ophthalmology. And yes, family is there, ophthalmology is there, but there must be something outside where you give back to the community. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. And I think we have seen your contribution for Rotary, and of course, as we heard also from Mr. Lazarus,
Don,
that you have been. Yes, sir.
I have one question for sir.
Yes, sir.
So many things he is doing. So how he manages work-life balance and multitasking?
There are two ways of looking at this, Santosh. One is the answer that I give, and the second is the answer that the family gives. They are two totally divergent. So according to me, I try my best to manage work-life balance. But according to the family, there is, if anybody invites you to give a talk somewhere, you will run. Why did you have to go to Pune to speak in low vision aid conference? Just because somebody invites you, you don't know how to say no. At which age will you ever say no to things like this? You just like to hear the claps of people. So these are some of the the things that I have listened to. I try. It is difficult for me to say no if a friend invites to give a talk somewhere, irrespective of where it is. I generally tend to say yes, but now we've reached a compromise so that I ask my daughters first permission. So I've got permission to attend 4 conferences in a year, which is the annual AIOS, MOS, BOA, and the Cornea Society. So those are compulsory. The others I have to ask. So then I ask, if I ask well in advance, I usually get a yes.
Good.
Great, sir. So I think on the same front, as sir has said, that of course the family comes equally important. He has said it also in his presentation. And now we are very happy to now listen to one of sir's daughters. Now she's going to share her experience of sir being a family man. And let me just put this.
I can talk directly. We don't have to play this.
All right, no problem. Yeah. Whatever you prefer. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'll just talk
what you must have
directly.
taped must have been good. Now I'm worried.
That's what. That's why I want to talk directly. The taped version was a backup. So, hi, I'm Marcia. I'm Dr. Qures Maskati's older daughter. Not the favorite one. The younger one is his favorite. And I was very, very touched that I was being asked to talk today until he told me, will you talk and all of this. And I was very touched. And then his next sentence was, mom has lost her voice. So that was the reason. And anyway, I'm here. So I don't have my dad's genes for public speaking, for humor or any of that. But I want to try and tell you all a little bit about him. So his presentation on all the values that he said was basically how he parented. That was exactly how he parented. And it's a very, very high bar that he has set for me and my sister for us to be parenting our children. He's been an amazing role model. He's by far the most positive person that I know. You can show him absolutely anything, and he will find something positive in it. And he is by far the most cheerful person I know. Woken up at any time, any hour, he's still always cheerful. I always felt like my dad was given more than 24 hours in a day, because he managed to do so much and still manages to do so much every day. And like he said in his presentation, whether it's the first patient or the 100th, the enthusiasm is absolutely the same. So whether he had a whole day of work and then came home to us, whether in the middle of work he had to come for something related to us, he always did. There was never anything that he didn't show up for. All our school, report days, dropping us to school, every single thing, in spite of work, in spite of Rotary, in spite of all the other commitments. Even when we were studying, I know there were many times when I was in Nair Hospital that I've called him and he's come at like 11 o'clock in the morning at the drop of a hat just because I had a really bad experience. And I remember that time we sat in the Nair canteen and shared a dosa or something like that. But it was literally in the middle of his workday. And I never once heard that he had to cancel something or rearrange something, or never have we ever felt that, he had to move so much stuff around for us. He just had that much time to give. Which was really, really amazing. So a couple of facts about him that y'all may not know. A couple of fun facts about him. He is a very picky eater. Before he met my mom, he ate 3 things. And that was keema, potatoes, and dal. After meeting my mom, that has widened a bit, but his favorite thing to eat is chaat in any form. So if y'all are ever inviting him over, you know what to make for him. So Sev Puri, Pani Puri, all of it, he loves it. He loves funny ties. I'm sure he's wearing one now. And yes, I know. And he loves loud colors. So he'll always wear the brightest colored t-shirts. And what he really hates is bad grammar. And we've been corrected since we were little kids. So hopefully ours is not so bad anymore. But we were never allowed to use words like nice, which were just non-descriptive according to him. And no other swear words were allowed. And now his grandchildren get corrected. So I'm very glad that that's moved from us. But he had a Sunday routine of taking us to the zoo or the aquarium. And now he does that with his grandchildren. So every Sunday when he is here, he takes all 4 grandchildren to some place in Bombay, and they really, really look forward to it. So he does have a great work-life balance in spite of us complaining. But he really does. And like I said, the bar has been set so high that I hope we can parent somewhere close to where he has. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful thoughts. And sir, I think as you said, your version and the family version is different, but it doesn't seem so. I think it seems that your family has really seen the work-life balance that you have put in, and given so much time at all the occasions to your kids. I think you are a role model for all the parents or parents to young kids like me also, and so many of our friends. So thank you for being the role model. And basically now I would like to put it open to the forum if there are any other questions that anybody would like to ask Dr. Maskati sir. They are most welcome to do so. And thank you again for joining us, the entire family of Dr. Maskati sir. Thank you so much. Yes, Dr.
What's amazing is my sister from Boston, who I informed 15 minutes prior to this program, that there is something like this. And she said, "You got to be kidding." I said, "Come and stay for 10 minutes," but I see that she's still here, which is amazing. Thanks, Lubaina.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Agarwal, sir, would you like to ask any other questions? Or Aditi,
I think Aditi wants to ask. Yeah, please go ahead, Aditi.
Yes.
Sir, I would like to ask, like, being obviously one legend's son, other than the corneal foreign body incidents and everything, once in practice, how difficult or easy it was to like survive or like go ahead in your private practice?
Yeah, it was not easy. I would see that patients with 3 months. I mean, they had, as I said, waiting list of 3 months, and patients crowding over there. And I would be reading a novel on my side of the waiting room. So we shared the waiting room is quite large, and there's an echo coming. Yeah, the waiting room is quite large. So I would be on one side reading a novel, and he would be seeing patients. And so for a couple of years, first I shadowed him. That means I didn't start my practice. I shadowed him. I assisted him in the OPD to get to know his style of working and to learn the art of talking to patients. And after that, it was, but we kept what the secretary told the patients when she diverted them to me was that if you're not happy with him, then at no extra charge, Dr. B.T. Maskati will see you. And it was my wish that no patient would ever move from my cabin to his cabin. And luckily for me, that never happened. So that was good. But it was difficult. The practice grew very, very slowly, helped by the secretary, helped by the patients who are not so serious, saying, okay, this guy is free. We'll take some time. We'll spend some time. It was only after about 25 years of practice, with both of us practicing from the same place, that I dared to bring my charges at par with his.
Sir, you have been doing your private practice for such a long time. Can you comment on your tips for the new beginners, how they should go in the practice? And
I strongly recommend, Santosh, the concept of group practice now, because earlier you could practice with a refraction set and a slit lamp and a direct ophthalmoscope. But gone are those days when you can do that. You can't keep referring patients for a topo, for a OCT, so certain instruments now have become expensive and basic still for a diagnostic setup, and no diagnostic equipment ever pays for itself. Your surgical equipment may pay, your phaco may pay for itself in time, but OCT or will not pay. So if you have a group practice with 4 or 5 like-minded people, it could be 4 or 5 like-minded corneal surgeons, or it could be one cornea, one neuro-ophthalmologist, one cataract surgeon, one retina. So wherever, and most of our youngsters now are going for fellowships where they meet youngsters of their age and who are doing, if they are doing cornea, they meet somebody who's doing retina, somebody who's doing glaucoma. If they can bond with them and open centers, then sharing of the equipment is the way to go. And it is cost effective also. You can cover for each other. So I'm a great believer in group practice. Thanks.
And also, how do you keep your updated? Means academic, do you read now?
Yes, the one good thing is that because of the number of quizzes that I make in the country, I read the Indian Journal. I still get the hard copy. I don't ask for the soft copy. I get the hard copy, and I actually I highlight in the articles which I read. And I don't read cornea. I read everything else besides cornea as well, because I need those will be possible quiz questions for the next quiz. So to let you on a secret, that the quiz at the AIS, for example, which I'm presenting on Sunday, 50-60% of the material will be from the last 6 months IJOs. So that keeps me reading, and plus you attend conferences, so you hear also. So again, I go. We at APAO at Bali, I attended strabismus sessions. I attended myopia sessions. I didn't attend any cornea sessions. So you broaden your outlook and you get to know what's happening in other fields. Thanks.
And last question, how many years will practice? You will continue your practice?
The answer is very simple. Till I enjoy practice. The moment it becomes a chore, the moment it becomes, I wake up in the morning and say, oh no, I have to go to clinic today. That day I will quit. But otherwise, till I enjoy practice and till I can do work without doing disservice to my patients. The moment I find that I'm faltering in my surgery or that I'm not able to afford to give the best to my patient and somebody else can do it better, I'll possibly quit surgery and then stay only in diagnostics or at the clinic. That is what I feel. Just one point on this. When my father worked till almost he was 89, 90, he was still at the clinic. I would, for about 10 or 15 years prior to that, he would tell patients that I'll be in the theater with you while Qures will operate. My son will operate you, but I will be in the theater. And that was still useful. In the last couple of years, before my mom passed away, when he was unwell in between and he was at home, he would make my mother completely miserable because he didn't know what to do with his time. He would start asking funny questions about the house and the finances and the getting upset if the video cassette record, we used to have the VCRs, the cassettes were not there from the library, and small things. And she would plead with me, please take him back to the clinic. So unless you have a good, that's why I say you must develop hobbies and interests outside of ophthalmology, so you're not a burden on the family when you retire. Thanks.
Dr. Mandar sir, any question from your side, or Dr. Atulji, if you're there?
Yeah, I think listening to sir for so many years, it has been a learning. Every time we interact with him, and there are some small things that you keep on learning from him. So I must thank you for giving those tips, maybe many times unknowingly, but it helps you. And I think the talk that you gave today was one of the best that I've heard for a very, very long time. I think the values that you shared are something which we all cherish and we should cherish. Unfortunately, we see around us, as you rightly said, that these values are never cherished anymore. And we see the result of that in the society at large. And one point which sort of hit a chord with me is that MOS is one of the least corrupt societies. I think that one statement is a very big statement, and it is a validation of people like you who have worked hard, who have set that standard, that bar so high that the following generations have to follow it and keep up the flag of MOS flying. And hopefully with this kind of background that the society has, I'm sure that it will create a bigger mark at the national level also. So rather than asking any question, I want to say thank you, sir, for all the experiences that you have been sharing. And I must admit that the kind of humor that you have is something I would like to emulate. Unfortunately, it is not possible to get to that level, but is something which I aspire to. So I wish you a very, very happy, long life, and also a very long practice. And I hope you never retire. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandar.
Thank you, Dr. Mandar sir. Dr. Atulji, if you are there.
Yes. Actually, I was hearing the whole. The one thing I like about Qures sir is I always feel him very approachable. I had any small problems, I never hesitated in calling, sir, aisa hua, kya karna hai? And he always had answer. So there is a respect for him also, and he is approachable. There are some people whom you hesitate or you had a fear ki baat karna hai ki nahi karna hai, whether he will talk or not. But sir, right from juniors to his age, like seniors, in every spectrum, he is a popular person. That is I think that is the best part I like in Qures sir, and no doubt about his humor attitude. I will काश भगवान हमें भी थोड़ा बहुत दे दे तो that will be a very good gift for us also. Thank you
God
so
gives
much, sir.
it.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for being here today, and a very nice talk, sir. It's really inspiring, and so much to take messages from your side. One thing I like is be a role model for your kids at least. So that is really a very good take-home message for all the listeners, I think.
Thank you so much. So, any before we go to our president for concluding remarks, we would like to have concluding remarks from Maskati sir. Thank you, sir, for of course being here today, and it has been such an honor for all of us, and we have truly learned so much. And your presentation was really it was really remarkable. We will try and imbibe all those virtues and values, and of course, and have a better work-life balance. I think that is the most important thing I've learned today. Yeah.
Forget work-life balance. I think you should have better timepieces and watches with you, because you're not seeing the time. It's supposed to be a 1 hour talk, a 1 hour session. You've gone way beyond. There are people snoring in the background. Luckily, they're muted, so you can't see them, hear them. But give them a chance to retire for the night. Yeah, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being with you and sharing my most intimate thoughts with you. And if you pick up something from this, it's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So now over to concluding remarks from our president, and then we'll go to the official vote of thanks. Over to you, Dr. Agarwal, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Vardhaman and MOS team, for inviting such a great legend. We have been hearing him for a long time, but today we learned many small things, and that will definitely help in our further career. Our children also will learn from him, and he is such a living role model for all of us. I really thank you, sir, for sparing so valuable time with us, and we keep on disturbing you for small things, for academic, non-academic reasons also. And I am sure you will be there for us, for MOS, for AIS, and for any organization. You have such a huge experience, such a values and virtues that will definitely inspire us for a long time. And we are really impressed with your talk, sir, today. It's I think if you can share with us, that will be very
I've
useful
sent
for
it to
our children.
Vardhaman. I've sent it to Vardhaman.
Yeah, I have it. I'll share it on our official groups also. So
Thank you everyone for sharing their views also about sir. Thank you, Natarajan sir, and your family members, sir, and your friends, everybody. Thank you, MOS team, for such a wonderful show today.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, over to Aditi now for the official vote of thanks. Dr. Nati sir, you wanted
Nothing.
to say?
Thank
Okay.
you, I said.
Thank you. Yes.
Today,
Yes,
Qures.
Yes.
So before going to the official vote of thanks, I would just like to share a small experience. I never had many personal interactions, unfortunately, with sir. But I remember my first small personal interaction when he was a panelist and a judge for OPI session. I was really pleasantly surprised to see a cornea and cataract person in OPI, which was there in Mumbai. So I think in this era of all subspecialty practices, it is really good to see people taking interest in other fields also, as he mentioned just now. So coming to the official vote of thanks, it was actually really mesmerizing to listen to the pearls of wisdom from your life, sir. They were really enlightening, starting from becoming the role model for kids to the actually becoming the role model for every single ophthalmologist, not only from Maharashtra, but I'm sure many from all over the world and India. They actually look forward to interacting with you and learning from you. So we actually had something to learn from every experience shared. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation and inspiring us. I would also like to thank all esteemed panelists and guests, Dr. Jahangir sir, Dr. B.K. Naik sir, Dr. Nati sir, and all friends and family members from Dr. Qures Maskati sir's circle. Their experiences actually made us know so many other new things about him. Thank you once again, all of you, for being here. Thank you, Dr. Agarwal sir, for chairing the session, and thank you, Vardhaman, for moderating the session so well. Last but not the least, thank you, Entod team, for supporting us, and the technical team for the glitchless webinar. Thank you, all the viewers who are viewing this amazing webinar from all the audience links. Thank you once again from Team MOS, and good night.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Thank you.
Good night. everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Good night, sir. Good night.
पति की टीवी तारी सीरियल पति की जम पूछो
No,
अरे पति की बता रही